They come off the final turn. It's the two Canadians.
Everybody at home in Canada, thanks for the support.
France are the 1998 world champions.
Plus the winners of the On the Net Awards and the Plays of the Year.
He leaps. Oh, he got it. What a catch by Junior.
Sports Desk 1998 Year in Review, brought to you by Bell Express View.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome as we take a look back at another year in sports. I'm Rod Smith, along with Darren Detition.
It is hard to believe that another 365 days have gone by, and what we're going to do during the course of the next 2 hours is take a chronological look back at 1998, especially the big stories and events.
Yeah, we're also going to hand out our On the Net Awards as voted on by you, the viewer, on our TSN.ca website. And, of course, we'll wrap things up with our Plays of the Year. But we begin with Super Bowl 32 in San Diego in January. The underdog Denver Broncos against the defending champion Packers, deservingly favorites.
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers were decided favorites going into this game, and the prevailing theme was, would John Elway finally get that elusive Super Bowl ring?
Winning it for the quarterback was the rallying cry.
The next step is trying to get him a ring.
I've never had a chance to win one, so I mean, that's going to be the focus.
And it was clear that Elway was going to do anything to get that ring. When he wasn't handing the ball to the eventual Super Bowl MVP, Terrell Davis, he was fighting for first downs. Clearly a man on a mission.
Elway, scrambling, looking, running, diving inside the 5-yard line for a first down. Is he only 37?
Elway's rocket right arm.
Fires deep down the middle. Open is McCaffrey.
On target when it had to be, as the master of the late drive engineered the winning score with 1:45 on the clock.
And the Broncos take the lead again.
And when John Mobley knocked down Brett Favre's pass on fourth down, NFC domination was over and an aging quarterback was reborn.
Super Bowl championship for John Elway and the Denver Broncos.
All those type things, I guess, that we've been answering questions for the last umpteen years is it makes it that much sweeter.
A salute to John Elway in Super Bowl 32. This was a story worth retelling.
A vindication for John Elway, the knock on him during his storied career. He couldn't win the big one. He ultimately gets his championship.
You talk about vindication. That came for a lot of former NHL players who waited a long time for this. This man went from the most powerful man in hockey to a convicted criminal.
Now, it didn't happen all in 1 year, but 98 was certainly a year of reckoning for Alan Eagleson.
After years of refusing to admit his guilt and refusing to face charges in the U.S., Alan Eagleson walked into a Boston courthouse on January the 6th and pled guilty to 3 counts of mail fraud. He was handed a $1 million fine. The next day, in Toronto, Eagleson pled guilty to 3 more charges of fraud and accepted an 18-month jail sentence. Alan Eagleson was going to jail disgraced. For many former players and former clients, it was a momentous occasion, but for some, it was not enough.
The sentence doesn't matter. 1 week, 1 day, 3 days. His power, he'll be out quickly. It doesn't matter. What matters is that he's a convicted criminal, and everybody knows it.
I challenge today the Hall of Fame to remove Alan Eagleson. If they do not, I will request that I be removed. I do not want to be on that wall with that man.
On March 25th, already stripped of his Order of Canada and his place in Canada's Sports Hall of Fame, Eagleson bowed to public pressure by tendering his resignation from the Hockey Hall of Fame. And in July, critics of the 18-month sentence were howling even harder when Eagleson was given parole after the minimum 6 months in jail.
He hasn't paid anything. All he's done is taken and raped and pillaged. Should never have been allowed to be out in the public again.
Eagleson remains on parole and has remained silent. However, the Eagles' guilty pleas were heard loud and clear by fans, players, and hockey historians. Let's move on now to some of the other headlines from the month of January.
Canada's quest for a 6th gold medal in a row has ended.
In fact, Canada finished the World Juniors in 8th place, our worst finish since 1981. Finland wins the gold.
Canada's Thoroughbred Horse of the Year, Chief Bearheart, wins the Eclipse Award as the top male turf champion in North America.
Wayne Gretzky takes top honors as the Hockey News names its top 50 players of all time. Bobby Orr's second on the list. Gordie Howe is third.
In a lot of ways, I'm a little bit embarrassed to be at this level. I think we all think back to our childhood and who we looked up to, and those are the people we remember as the best.
After finishing second at the Canadian Championships but failing to meet the qualifying criteria, Emmanuel Sandhu is denied his appeal for a spot at the Olympics by the COA.
My dream just has to be put on hold now for another 4 years.
Failing to meet the high expectations of a #1 overall pick 5 years earlier, Alexander Daig is dealt by the Senators to the Flyers.
Nearly 14 years after being named, Wayne Gretzky picks up his officer of the Order of Canada.
I am a Canadian, and I'm always going to be Canadian. I'm very proud of that.
Martina Hingis defends her title at the Australian Open, defeating Conchita Martinez in straight sets. It's her 4th Grand Slam title in 2 years. On the men's side, Peter Korda was doing cartwheels over his first Grand Slam win after knocking off Marcelo Rios.
Time for a break. When we come back on the Year in Review, it was a winter wonderland for Canada and Nagano.
And we'll have the results of our first On the Net Award, the newcomer of the year.
An infinite number of monkeys on an infinite number of typewriters will eventually define all that is Canada.
Gentlemen, down south, we have trouble following your puck. So what we want to do is introduce this blue streak on screen every time someone passes the puck. And when they shoot it, red streak. Blue pass, red shoot. You get it, boys?
It's got to get there.
Absolutely sure. The jacket symbolizes a game rich with tradition and honor. The course has seen the legends of the game make history. The players are tested to the extreme, revealing the true determination needed to succeed. The Masters, a grueling 4-day tournament filled with drama and magic. Relive an event never to be forgotten. The 1998 Masters Revisited, Christmas Day on TSN.
Al, how you doing today? What's going on?
Press conference.
Hey, Andy, how about you? What are you working on?
Grabbing highlights.
What's going on? What's with everybody?
Slow news day, I guess.
Oh, I'll fix that. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Van Horn. Welcome to the early edition of TSN Sports Desk for today. We're glad you're...
And welcome back. Every year at this time, we hand out our On the Net Awards for such things as Top Male Athlete of the Year, Top Female Athlete of the Year, Top Team, and so on. And all of it is voted on by you, the fan.
Yeah, and our first category is the Newcomer of the Year. Let's take a look at the nominees for 1998.
Tim Duncan was an instant franchise player in the NBA, looking more like a 10-year veteran than a rookie. Some around the NFL say Randy Moss is not only the best rookie in the league, but the best receiver, period. Sari Pak's first 2 tour wins were majors and LPGA first. In just his 5th Major League start, Kerry Wood struck out an incredible 20 batters, tying the all-time single-game record. And the winner, Kerry Wood. His 20K performance equaled a feat accomplished by only one other player in history, Wood's boyhood idol, Roger Clemens, who did it twice. And Wood followed that up with a 13-strikeout game, setting a new all-time record of 33 over 2 games. Wood finished up the season 3rd of the National League in strikeouts with 233 and led the league in opponents' batting average, a minuscule 196.
Well, you've seen the winner and the runners-up, and we thought we'd show you a few other notables that you, the viewer, voted in. James Duthie and John Gallagher, newcomers to TSN, and Jeff Kugel in there as well. Understanding, Darren, is that Gallagher and Duthie have some arrangement to vote for each other.
I think so, but that still leaves 2 votes unaccounted for. We'll figure out exactly who it was. This next story dominated the headlines during the course of the winter of '98 and carried right on through the spring and the summer itself. Casey Martin was a golfer with a congenital leg problem. He just wanted to play the game of golf.
Yeah, but first, Casey Martin had to fight for the right to compete.
It should have been the feel-good story of the year in golf. Casey Martin, unable to walk without pain, overcomes his disability to live out his dream playing on the PGA Tour. Instead, it became a court case. Casey Martin versus the PGA Tour over Martin's use of a golf cart to play tour events. Despite massive public and media support for Martin, the PGA Tour fought hard to keep Martin from having what they termed an unfair advantage over other players.
Where do you say to another player who has a problem, a bad knee, a bad back, I want to have a cart? Where do you draw the line in the discussion about, you know, a cart's an advantage or not an advantage?
But ultimately, the courts ruled in favor of Martin.
This does give me a chance to pursue my dreams, and gives me a chance to see how good I could be, and otherwise probably wouldn't be able to achieve that. I just hope maybe 5 to 10 years from now, if I'm still able to play golf, and that the PGA Tour would kind of lean back and scratch their heads and just say, you know, why did we fight this guy?
Martin took advantage of the ruling to play his first tour event in Hartford, then qualified for and played in the U.S. Open, making the cut and finishing 23rd. Casey Martin proved to be an inspiration for many.
However, the story doesn't have an entirely happy ending. Casey Martin finished 221st on the PGA Tour's money list. He then went to their Q school, but failed to earn his tour card for 1999.
You know, Darren, I think one of the most anticipated stories of '98 happened across the pond in Japan back in February when National Hockey League players were allowed to compete in the Olympics for the first time.
Especially for hockey-crazed Canadians, but by no means was that the only story of significance for Canada. Teresa Cruz covered the event for TSN and has this look back.
The 18th Winter Olympic Games in Nagano, Japan, were the largest ever staged, with 2,306 athletes from 72 countries taking part. 154 athletes represented Canada, and they competed in 55 of the 68 events. It didn't take Canada long to strike gold, competing in the new Olympic sport of snowboarding. Whistler, BC's Ross Rebliati conquered the field and the changing weather conditions to win Canada's first gold medal of the Games.
I don't know, adversity is my best friend, I guess, so I'm all over it.
Those words would prove to be prophetic. Days later, Rebliati was ordered to return the medal because he had tested positive for marijuana metabolites. His case went before an arbitration court, and after a few tense days, the panel overturned the IOC's decision to strip him of his medal.
Everybody at home in Canada, thanks for the support. I've been getting faxes and letters and a lot of news from my family about everybody, and thank you.
Canadian speed skaters hit the ice with a vengeance in Nagano. In long track, Saskatchewan's Katrina LeMay-Doan struck gold. Manitoba's Susan Ock took the silver in the women's 500. LeMay-Doan followed up her gold medal with a bronze in the women's 1,000.
I came in with a lot of expectations and definitely achieved them. And just the whole experience of these Olympics has been great. Just the whole team performance has been wonderful.
In fact, Canadian speed skaters accounted for 9 of the total 15 medals Canada won at the Games. In short track speed skating, there were 2 gold and 2 bronze. But not all Canadians on skates accomplished what they set out to do. The Canadian men's hockey team arrived in Nagano with great fanfare. Everyone thought that Canada would win its first gold medal in hockey since 1952. But then came the heartbreaking shootout and loss to Dominik Hasek and the Czech Republic.
No! He's got to score. That's all. No, he cannot do it. The Czech Republic will play for the gold medal.
In the bronze medal game, the Canadians lost to Finland and finished 4th.
You know, there's no excuses. We lost. I think that Canadians should look forward to the next Olympic Games. I think that our hockey is not in disarray, which some people may think or want to believe, but our sport is pretty solid in Canada, and we're just going to get better. And, you know, I think that in 2002, we should go back to the Olympic Games and we'll be ready to compete again.
Gold would belong to Dominik Hasek in the Czech Republic. Russia settled for silver. Hasek turned in one of the most amazing performances at the Games, and he and his teammates returned home to a hero's welcome. The Canadian women's hockey team was also favored to win gold, but were forced to settle for silver after a heartbreaking loss to Team USA.
I'm pretty emotional, pretty upset, but you know, it's disappointing. Part of me, you know, feels as though we've let down a lot of people, but the other part of me is proud to be a part of this team and proud to be Canadian.
There were other disappointments for Canadian athletes in Nagano. The freestyle ski team was kept off the medal podium in aerials and moguls, and there were no medals won in alpine skiing. Ice dancers Shailene Bourne and Victor Kratz finished a controversial fourth, and Canada's King of the Blades, Elvis Stojko, skated through a painful groin injury to finish with the silver. 2 days later, Stojko said that it took a letter from a 5-year-old Canadian figure skater to help him get over his disappointment.
But she said that she saw me skate and knew that I was sick and said that if Elvis can do it, I can do it too. And it kind of makes you think what it's all about.
But as the games wore on, there were still some more medal moments to savor. Pierre Lueders and Dave McEachern won Canada's first gold medal in bobsleigh since 1964. In curling, the men's team, led by a flu-stricken Mike Harris, claimed silver. And Sandra Schmerler in her rink from Regina won the first ever gold medal in women's curling. Looking back, people may always remember the Winter Olympics in Japan for what Canada didn't accomplish on the hockey rink. But it should never overshadow Canada's greatest accomplishment. And that's the medals and personal bests the Canadian athletes achieved. The 15 medals are the most a Canadian team has ever won at a Winter Olympic Games.
And smuggled in
Coming up next on the Year in Review, Toronto's feuding franchises come together under one roof.
While concussions claim some high-profile victims in '98.
It's a very difficult thing, and it is a scary thing.
An infinite number of monkeys on an infinite number of typewriters will eventually define all that is Canada.
Gentlemen, down south, we have trouble following your puck. So what we want to do is introduce this blue streak on screen every time someone passes the puck. And when they shoot it, red streak. Blue pass, red shoot. You get it, boys?
Good morning. It's 6:28 in our...
Well, it's rain, and more.
I can't believe you're leaving me.
There's a left jab.
The most sports. The most hockey.
They called him Fuko.
Endless movies. Over 100 channels of as much TV as you can handle. Bell Express View. Hardware available for as little as $12.49 a month. Weight loss not included.
There's no law that says you have to help out. To work up a callus or a blister from lending a helping hand. But to all of you whose nature it is to chip in, not for gratitude or glory, but just for a good, warm feeling inside, we'd like you to know we build every Ford truck to share the load till the work is done. Ford. For now, forever.
Sunday, the quest for gold begins here. Canada takes on Slovakia. Get the best hockey on ice this season. World Junior Hockey Championship, TSN, Sunday. The NFL is in double coverage on TSN this weekend. Saturday, it's the Vikings and the Oilers. Sunday night, catch the Cowboys and the Redskins. NFL double coverage on TSN this weekend.
Welcome back to the Year in Review. After striking curling gold at the Olympics on the women's side, it was back to business on the home rinks.
Sandra Schmirler's Golden Girls barely had time to put their medals away before they were back on the ice for the Scott Tournament of Hearts in front of their home fans in Regina. Schmirler's team was running on fumes before finally losing in the semifinal. Kathy Borst's Alberta foursome was tops in the round robin and beat Anne Merklinger of Ontario in the final to clinch her first Scott title. Ontario's Wayne Middaugh put on a dominant performance to win the Brier in Winnipeg.
Off it, cross, catch it, good night.
Middaugh's team blitzed through the round robin, then beat Quebec's Guy Hemmings in the final. Hemmings became the fan favorite of the Brier with his perpetual bad hair days and fun-loving attitude, even pretending to change the score during a power blackout late in the final. Middaugh's role continued at the World Championships with an 8-1 round-robin record, followed by a 7-4 win over Sweden in the final. Borst's crew had to settle for a bronze medal win over Norway.
In the month of February, the ownership of the Toronto Raptors finally came to a head, and it had been rather messy for more than a year.
It had been very messy, Darren. Alan Slate never really wanted controlling interest in that team, and he finally found a buyer in none other than the Toronto Maple Leafs, who actually liked the building that came along with it, despite what they had said just earlier.
The Air Canada site isn't the site for us.
After talks with the Raptors broke off February the 3rd, the Maple Leafs decided to build their own arena over Toronto's Union Station. Critics scoffed at the idea of building the two arenas within meters of each other, but the Leafs said they were not bluffing.
It's not a power struggle. It's not that kind of thing. I mean, you've got two teams that are in very different circumstances. One has been around for a long time. One's been around for a short time.
After weeks of rhetoric by both sides, on February the 12th, the Leafs and the Raptors had a joint news conference and made this stunning announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, Maple Leaf Gardens Limited is purchasing the Toronto Raptors, and with that, ownership of the Air Canada Centre.
I've always said that Toronto Maple Leafs must have a world-class new home of their own.
It makes the best long-term sense to share a facility with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
But the upheaval wasn't over yet. Just one day later, the Raptors dealt their first ever draft pick, franchise player Damon Stoudemire, to the Portland Trail Blazers in a 6-player swap.
I just wish that things could have been a little bit different. You know, I'm not holding any ill feelings towards the city. I just hope the city doesn't hold any ill feelings towards me.
Unfortunately for the Raptors, ill feelings seem to be a reflection of their entire year.
On now to some of the other headlines making news in February. Mike Keenan continues his Canucks trading spree, dealing former captain Trevor Linden to Long Island. It's Keenan's 4th deal in 3 days.
20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500. Finally.
The Red Wings match a $38 million offer from the Hurricanes to restricted free agent Sergei Fedorov. The contract calls for a $12 million lump sum payment if the team makes the conference final.
Moving on now to news from the month of March. An arbitrator reduces the NBA's 1-year suspension to the Golden State Strangler Latrell Sprewell. The ban for choking his coach now extends only through the end of the season, and his contract is reinstated.
Elvis Stoico announces he will not be able to defend his title at the World Figure Skating Championship due to a groin injury he suffered at the Olympics.
In a hard-fought contest, Bishops outlast McMaster 74-71 for its first ever CIAU men's basketball title.
And the Gators are going to win the national championship.
And on the women's side, Victoria was victorious, knocking off Manitoba 66-61 in the final.
In a rematch of the AUAA Finals won by New Brunswick, UAB once again defeats Acadia 6-3 to win the CIAU Hockey Championships.
Canada's Jamal McGlure chips in with 7 points and 3 blocks as Kentucky defeats Utah for its second NCAA title in 3 years. Back in the 1970s, the epidemic injury in hockey happened to be the knee. Remember Bobby Orr. And in the 80s, it seemed like the back injury was common. Guys like Mike Bossy having their career ended.
And in most recent years, it's been head injuries. Last year, it was an epidemic of concussions as a number of NHL superstars were knocked out of the lineup. Literally. Lisa Bowes has more.
It's like a knockout punch in boxing.
You don't feel like yourself.
I could feel the concussion coming on. I could feel my memory going.
Head injuries are nothing new in the NHL, but they were magnified in '98 because of the names on the injury list.
And Korea just leveled.
Post-concussion syndrome kept Korea on the shelf for not just the Olympics, but the entire season. 1 month later, a player that gives out as much as he takes underwent a similar experience, and Lindros knew the consequences. His brother Brett forced to retire just 1 year earlier. Both Korea and Lindros recovered from their injuries, but Pat LaFontaine could not. This collision with teammate Mike Keane ended not just his season, but his brilliant 15-year career. 5 months later, he announced that his days as a player were over. The risk was too great.
It's not a fun thing to go through. It's a very difficult thing, and it is a scary thing.
Scary because concussions can be career killers. And as we saw in '98, no one is immune.
And much to the credit of the National Hockey League, they are taking a harsher stance when it comes to headhunters.
And the teams and the players are being a lot smarter about it now, too, I think, Darren, not coming back too soon after that player suffers a head injury. Still more to come in the 98 Sports Desk Year in Review, including a major breakthrough for an old vet.
And we'll let you know the score. Our plays of the year are still to come as well.
An infinite number of monkeys on an infinite number of typewriters will eventually define all that is Canada.
Gentlemen, down south, we have trouble following your puck. So what we want to do is introduce this blue streak on screen every time someone passes the puck. And when they shoot it, red streak. Blue pass, red shoot. You get it, boys?
It has the most powerful Vortec engine ever made. 4-wheel disc anti-lock brakes standard, and the largest, most comfortable cab we've ever built.
Yeah, what? Your truck's here. Good. They said they'd drop it off.
The totally redesigned Sierra by GMC.
Now that's a truck. I'll say.
The battle, the victory, the celebration. 'Tis the season for NCAA. Catch the Oahu Bowl Christmas Day on TSN.
This February, you will experience this. The 1999 Canada Winter Games begins February 20th. TSN.
Al, how you doing today? What's going on?
Press conference.
Hey, Andy, how about you? What are you working on?
Grabbing highlights.
What's going on? What's with everybody?
Slow news day, I guess.
Oh, I'll fix that. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Van Horn. Welcome to the early edition of TSN Sports Desk for today. We're glad you're...
Would you trade in your MVP for Canadian Athlete of the Year?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Canada's my country. You know, I stand by my country. I'm proud to be a Canadian, and you know, it's something that I'd love to have. I thought maybe it was something I deserved. It was an award I was upset about. I won a lot of awards last year, but that was one that I thought that I would have had. The other ones I give back for the Canadian Athlete Award.
That was Larry Walker talking about what happened last year. He was upset with the fact that he did not win the Lou Marsh Award as Canada's outstanding athlete.
But this time around, he does get some vindication. Even though he didn't have as good a year for the Rockies, he is the winner of the 1998 Lou Marsh Award and a little bit more puzzled by it.
I didn't have as good of a year as I thought I could have, not even close to my standards at least. But I managed to get a batting title of it, and then I was rewarded with the award, and I was very honored to have it. And yeah, it's, I guess that's one thing that needs to be cleared up. Everybody thinks I was just going into a rage last year because I didn't win it. I kid around a lot, and I kidded around saying Jacques beat me with a machine. By no means is that shouldn't have been taken seriously, but you know, Jacques had one of the great years in Grand Prix racing, so he very well deserved the award, and I'm happy for him.
Larry Walker also got a number of votes for our On the Net Award for Male Athlete of the Year. And Darren, this one not exclusively Canadians, but for any and all comers.
Yeah, it was a wide open field, but it had a decided baseball theme. Let's take a look at our On the Net Award nominees for Male Athlete of the Year.
Dominik Hasek started off the year leading the Czech Olympic team to gold, then took the Buffalo Sabres to the Stanley Cup semifinals. Michael Jordan led the Chicago Bulls to their 6th NBA title, won his 6th Finals MVP and his 5th League MVP. Mark McGwire demolished sports' most storied record, Roger Maris's 61 home runs. Big Mac finished with an unthinkable total of 70. Mike Pringle rewrote the CFL record book for running backs, becoming the first in league history to rush for 2,000 yards. Sammy Sosa went toe-to-toe with McGwire in the home run race, finishing with his own astonishing total of 66. And the winner, according to your votes, Mark McGwire. His chase of the home run record captivated an entire continent and helped bring baseball back to its former glory. Historic home run number 62 ranks as one of those where were you then moments in sports history. We'll have lots more on McGwire, the home run chase, and the entire baseball season a little later in the show.
Other nominees for Male Athlete of the Year, I stress, is voted by you. Bill Clinton and Ross Rebliati, and somehow Ty Domi got between those two.
Yeah, he doesn't quite fit in there. Domi's a tough guy. The other two, they just didn't inhale.
Very good. Well, another male athlete who had an outstanding 1998 happened to be a golfer by the name of Mark O'Meara.
And you could draw a lot of parallels between John Elway, who we talked about earlier in the show, and Mark O'Meara, because this year was a breakthrough year for him.
Although he'd never won a major, 41-year-old Mark O'Meara was a winner when he arrived in Augusta, Georgia to play in his 15th Masters. And O'Meara scorched the course in the final 2 rounds, burning away old ghosts in the process, and positioning himself for one of the most enduring images of the year.
Good-looking putt.
Mark O'Meara has won the Masters.
Ironically, it wasn't until he'd left Augusta that Mark O'Meara had truly arrived. A blustery Royal Birkdale was the site of O'Meara's next major triumph. He was forced to a playoff by a gutsy chip from Brian Watts on the 18th, but nothing could sway the confidence of O'Meara. After 17 professional seasons with no majors to his credit, Mark O'Meara had won 2 in a span of 3 months. And a man who knows all about the majors made his presence felt in '98. Incredibly, 58-year-old living legend Jack Nicklaus provided more major thrills at the '98 Masters. The 6-time champion ended the 3rd round with 4 straight birdies and carded an amazing 4 under 68 in the final round to finish tied for 6th. His best finish in a major since 1990. Amazing. Memories of the 1998 U.S. Open are things Payne Stewart wishes he did not have. Stewart led for the first 3 rounds, but 1993 champ Lee Janzen came from 5 strokes back in the final round to take the Open. The PGA Championship provided the season's 2nd first-time major winner. Vijay Singh, who'd won tournaments in 12 countries, outdueled Steve Stricker for a 2-stroke win. And a dream come true.
Still with golf, there's a great debate across this country. We produce a lot of good players for the LPGA Tour, but yet when it comes to the PGA players, there's not a lot of success.
Yeah, once again in 1998, though, there were Canadians, as you alluded to, that made some noise on the LPGA Tour, including a native of Charlottetown.
Laurie Kane led the Canadian charge on the LPGA Tour in 1998, notching 11 top 10 finishes and leading the tour with 364 birdies. Kane also finished 12th on the money list, topping the $500,000 mark, and received the Heather Farr Award for sportsmanship and dedication to the game of golf. But the biggest Canadian achievement on the tour belonged to Lisa Walters at the Oldsmobile Classic.
Come on, come on. Oh, yes. Well, she got it close. And she is now really moving in on the LPGA record of 23 under par.
Walters would go on to tie the LPGA record of 23 under and win her first tournament since '93.
The record's just gravy, man. I wasn't even thinking about that. Wendy Ward told me this morning to go out and do it, and I wasn't even really sure what it was, but now that I found out I tied it, I think I'm in pretty good company with Wendy.
Walter's achievement was viewed by Laurie Kane and other Canadians as a source of national pride as well as inspiration for Canadian golfers in the future.
Lisa shooting 23 under this year.
was fantastic. So I think, you know, we just pull one another along, and it's a good camaraderie. We work hard individually, but, you know, we're all flying the flag high.
Let's get back to some of the items making news in April. At the World Figure Skating Championships, Emmanuel Sandhu is a flop in the short program. He fails to qualify for the free skate.
Good news for Canada in the dance, though, as Bourne and Kretz go on to win a bronze.
The Yankees are forced to abandon their home for a few games after a 500-pound steel joint crashes down onto the seats at an empty Yankee Stadium. No one was hurt.
The COA approves Toronto as a Canadian bid for the 2008 Summer Olympics. The IOC will make its decision in 2001.
Damn it, we're going to get it. And we're going to put on the world's greatest Olympics.
Up next in the year in review, could it be the final running of the Bulls?
While the Red Wings dedicate this cup to a special teammate.
The Vladdy, everything that's went on here, something that we set our minds to at the start of the year.
Good morning, it's 6:28 in our...
Well, it's rain, and more.
I can't believe you're leaving me.
There's a left jab.
The most sports. The most hockey. They call him Foucault. Endless movies. Over 100 channels of as much TV as you can handle. Bell Express View. Hardware available for as little as $12.49 a month. Weight loss not included.
If I give you a clean sheet, what will you write? Will it be poetry? Or just plain English? If you have something to say it now. For soon, my sheet will be filled, and this chapter will end, sure as the next will begin, with a clean sheet, new authors, and a million possibilities.
Joey, I know I can count on you. I know I can count on you.
Dad! FedEx. Be absolutely sure.
Have you ever noticed how special life can get when it's focused on you? That's why we've created M-Banks, a bank built around you. It's about you being able to do all your banking after the kids are put to bed, and you actually have time to breathe. M-Banks. It's about time banking was about you.
Welcome back. Let's check out the headlines from the month of May.
Down the stretch they come. Real quiet leads it. Victory Gallup on the outside with a last desperate move. In the final stride, Real Quiet into Normo. Yes, Real Quiet wins it. Bob Baffert, 2 in a row.
The Edmonton Oilers are officially sold to a group of 35 local investors, keeping the team in the Alberta city.
With this pass, Greg Moore takes the lead and goes on to win the Rio 400.
Canada is routed by Sweden at the World Hockey Championship and is eliminated from the medal round. Sweden goes on to win gold.
In his first year as a head coach, Larry Bird led the Pacers back to dominance in the NBA and wins the Coach of the Year award.
We got to the finish, and it's going to be Real Quiet. The Derby winner gets the Preakness, and it's Victory Gallup second, followed by Classic Cat third. The same finishes the Derby.
The Portland Winterhawks overcome a serious knee injury to Marian Hossa to beat Guelph in overtime and take the Memorial Cup south of the border.
In a race marked by car troubles, Eddie Cheever wins the once proud Indy 500.
My gut instinct right now is that the time is right for a change.
And with that, Mark Crawford informed the Avalanche that he was stepping down as head coach.
All right, let's move on to June in the NBA championship. The Chicago Bulls, led by Michael Jordan, back in it again. They'd already won 5 titles in the 90s in 7 years and looking to pick up 6.
Yeah, and it was a circus in Chicago again, right from the get-go, with Michael Jordan saying this could be his last year unless Phil Jackson returned to the team. There was labor strife that was impending, and ultimately in the final itself, the Utah Jazz just could not run with the Bulls.
The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their second three-peat.
What looked so easy in reality was the exact opposite. The Bulls' 6th title of the 90s was the most taxing on everyone. The troubles began at the start of the season. A slow 9-7 start with Scottie Pippen on the shelf after foot surgery. Add to that, Pippen's constant trade demands put a dark cloud over the 5-time NBA champs.
I think I've been treated very unfairly through this organization, and I'm just sort of at the point where now I'm kind of filled up with it, and I don't see myself carrying on.
But to paraphrase an old adage, Bulls will be Bulls. The Bulls finished the season on a 53-13 tear, a sweep of the Nets, and a 7-game win over Indiana, setting up a rematch with Utah in the final. After a 2-1 lead, which included a 42-point Game 3 crushing, more trouble. While the Bulls were preparing for a pivotal Game 4, there was Rodman, not at practice, but at WCW Nitro.
There are some things worth missing practice for, brother.
But with Rodman making the mailman go postal, the Bulls shrugged off their problems and took their 6th in 6, while never leaving the future in question.
My love has always gone to the city of Chicago. It's been a great run. Thank you for our last dance.
They say the toughest thing in pro sports is to repeat as a champion. The Chicago Bulls were able to do that. When it comes to the National Hockey League, we were all wondering, would the Detroit Red Wings be able to?
Well, certainly the defending Cup champs had some adversity to overcome. Sergei Fedorov, a contract holdout for more than half the season, and of course the Wings dedicating their year to Vladimir Konstantinov. Here's Lisa Bowes once again with a look back at the 1998 Stanley Cup playoffs.
There were a few surprises in the quarterfinals, most notably from the Canadian contingent. The Devils finished first in the East, but were one of the first teams to be eliminated. The Senators riding Damian Rhodes' net mining into the second round. Jaromir Jagr and the Penguins did not have the right game plan against the Canadians. The Northeast Division champs shut out in Game 6, thereby shutting down for the season. In the West, Colorado had a 3-1 lead on Edmonton, but the air might have been too thin in Denver because the Avs choked, and Cujo and the Oilers were on to the next round. The Sabres were the 3rd underdog team from the East to advance. The Big E and company not even close to another Stanley Cup final appearance. Flyers done in 5, thanks in large part to
Lindros moves in, shooting. He is stunned yet again by Dominik Hasek.
And he was dominant again in the semis as the Sabres swept the Habs to set the stage for a battle with Washington in the East Final. A series that was highlighted by Hasek and Kolzig. Godzilla's Caps winning it in 6.
Bellow shot, stopped by Hasek. Rebound score! Joey Juneau in overtime. And the Washington Capitals, for the first time in their 24-year history, are headed for the Stanley Cup Finals.
Meantime, the defending champions from Motown were in cruise control in the West. And while the conference final meant facing the #1 team during the regular season, the Red Wings were not intimidated. They were inspired.
Welcome back, number 16, Vladimir Konstantinov and Sergei Manatchikana.
2 seconds, Detroit goes to the Stanley Cup Final. They win it 2-0. Chris Osgood shuts out the Dallas Stars.
And when this team that had endured so much since winning their first Stanley Cup in 42 years met the Capitals in the final, there was no stopping them.
A point, beating it, score! He's got help, Fedorov shot, he scores! That's why you pay him $1 billion. Standing ovation for Konstantinov.
They're so happy that he came to this game. Detroit
From triumph to tragedy to triumph again.
Well, this is what we built our season around this year. And just look at the smile on his face. It's worth it, all the hard work.
And everybody remembering Vladimir first and foremost.
I knew the way our team felt about Vladimir Konstantinov, that they would give every bit that they could to win this cup.
And truly a heartwarming ending. Those are some of the images of '98 that we will not soon forget.
Absolutely. It doesn't change the tragedy for Vladimir Konstantinov, but it was so great to see him once again sharing in the triumph of the Detroit Red Wings. Stick around to the 1998 Sports Desk Year in Review. When we come back, we'll find out the importance of home pitch advantage.
And was it baseball's best summer ever? Perhaps.
A slice of history and a magical moment in St. Louis.
Just the two of us, we can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. Building those castles in the sky. Just the two of us.
Some Air Miles rewards don't involve air travel at all.
Just the two of us.
But they still bring people closer together.
Just the two of us.
Fido makes a great Christmas gift, although wrapping him up's always a bit tricky. This Christmas, pick up the Nokia 5190 for just $75, and we'll double your airtime for 1 month. Plus, we'll give you a red or blue faceplate absolutely free.
TV sucks the brain right out of the skull. So, next seminar, we'll probe the content of television.
Professor McClure,
well, of course, the content of television is movies, but the message of television is what it does to us, the users.
Are you saying that the medium is more important than the message it carries?
No. The medium is not more important than the message. It's obvious. The medium is the message.
The medium is the message. What does that mean?
Well, of course, the medium is the message. It's what I...
He's full of great ideas.
Like print changed the shape of the world,
People don't read newspapers, they get into them like a warm bath.
This Canadian changed the way the world thinks about communications.
Is the message, then the content must be the audience. And of course, electronic information is turning the world into a global village. Take light bulbs, they're an information medium.
Time for another On the Net award. Here are the nominees for Female Athlete of the Year. Lindsay Davenport knocked off Martina Hingis to win the U.S. Open, and a month later claimed the #1 ranking in the world. Katrina LeMay-Doan dominated the speed skating world in '98, first during the World Cup events, then at the Olympics, taking a gold and bronze at Nagano. Sari Pak won 4 LPGA events in a rookie year, including a thrilling playoff at the U.S. Women's Open. Sandra Schmerler led her rink to the first ever Olympic curling gold medal, beating Norway in the final. And the winner, Katrina LeMay-Doan. Leading up to the Olympics, LeMay-Doan won 5 of 6 World Cup events. At Nagano, she teamed up with Susan Ock for a 1-2 finish in the 500 meters, then took up bronze in the 1,000. LeMay-Doan's dream year was capped off when she was chosen to carry the flag for Canada at the closing ceremonies.
And there were a number of other women who garnered votes as well, although I didn't know China was a female.
No, and I suppose if Bill Clinton can get a vote for a male athlete, then Monica Lewinsky should get her due as well. But seriously, someone paying a great compliment to their mom, Sue Groomer. On now to more of the newsmakers from the month of June. At the Belmont, Real Quiet looks to wrap up the final jewel of the Triple Crown.
Down the stretch they come. Real Quiet in front. Here comes Victory Gallup with Gary Stevens. It's Real Quiet Catormo, but on the outside, Victory Gallup too tight to Paul.
A photo finish, and after further review, Victory Gallup just noses out Real Quiet to spoil the Triple Crown bid by that much.
At the French Open, Arantxa Sanchez-Vicario knocks off Monica Seles in the final on the men's side. Carlos Moya beats good friend and countryman Alex Corretja, winning his first Grand Slam title.
The Players' Grand Prix is marred by early crashes as Michael Schumacher goes on to win his 3rd in Canada.
and DeSormo goes to work on Archer's Bay. Archer's Bay right at the throat of Bright Adam, and Archer's Bay has taken the lead as they come to the final 16th. The Kentucky Derby. Queens plate double for Kent DeSormo, winning the plate with Archer's Bay.
Leaving his job in the NHL head office, Brian Burke is the new GM of the Vancouver Canucks.
Ending a long, agonizing process, the Leafs fire Mike Murphy and 3 days later hire Pat Quinn as their new head coach.
At the NBA draft in Vancouver, the hometown Grizzlies make Mike Bibby the #2 pick overall. The Raptors swap picks with Golden State and get their man in Vince Carter. Also on draft day, Canadian rising star Steve Nash is dealt from Phoenix to Dallas.
Dominic Hasek, once again surrounded by hardware at the NHL Awards, winning both the Hart and Vezina trophies for the second straight year, along with the Pearson Trophy voted on by his peers.
The NHL also introduces the Maurice Richard Trophy, effective in 98-99, to go to the league's top goal scorer.
The #1 pick in the entire NHL draft, Vincent Lecavalier.
Pierre Gauthier quits the Ottawa Senators and has this assurance.
I'm not going to Anaheim. Not to work for the Mighty Ducks.
But guess who's going to Disneyland just 2.5 weeks later?
It's a new career for me, new challenges.
As for the Senators, they hire Rick Dudley as their new GM.
It is the most widely watched sporting event in the world. Every 4 years, soccer fans rejoice as the World Cup is held.
And in 1998, the country that got to play host was France, and a month after it all began, it was truly a storybook finish. Once again, Lisa Bowes.
The latest edition of the big tournament lived up to its advanced billing. Easily the biggest surprise of France 98, Croatia. A third-place finish for a country that was formed just 7 years previously. The road to the bronze medal highlighted by a quarterfinal match with powerhouse Germany. The Croats might have been underdogs, but they had the necessary bite and bark.
Schuker coming in far side. Leivic goes for goal. Oh, it's there! Croatia have scored again!
The Germans done much earlier than many expected. As were the English. Hopes of winning their first World Cup in 32 years ended in the round of 16, despite the heroics of an 18-year-old striker.
It's Batty, and he has joined them. And England again are out of the World Cup on penalties.
Nigeria learning too late that the Danes were more dangerous than many predicted. That is until they ran into the defending champions in the quarterfinals in what was considered one of the more thrilling games of the tourney.
Rivaldo. Cracking off him, it's Rivaldo. Oh!
Meantime, the host country faced a difficult task against Italy, but their quarterfinal went to penalty kicks, and once again, it was arrivederci to the Azzurri. Now the entire nation believed in what their side was capable of, and they proved in the semifinal against the Cinderella side from Croatia that they were worthy of challenging for the World Cup. But they would have to dethrone the champions from Brazil, who were once again on the winning side of penalty kicks, this time against the Dutch. The stage was set, millions worldwide tuning in for a dream final that they would not soon forget. Right up to the last minute, Ronaldo, would he or wouldn't he start? In the end, it didn't matter because another superstar came to play.
Oh, and that's a goal! Zidane! Another one! And it's there! Zidane again! And here's Emmanuel Petit! Yes! Oh, what a finish!
It was a stunning upset of the four-time champions, France becoming the first host nation to win the World Cup in 20 years. And by winning it on home soil, this team of destiny sent their country into a frenzy.
When we return on the Year in Review, we'll take you through a baseball season for the ages.
And don't forget, later in the show, you'll flip for our Plays of the Year.
Oh, look at that catch!
No one's tougher on motor oil than Formula One drivers. The extreme stress and searing heat generated by their hard driving can break down an oil in no time. That's why the Winfield-Williams F1 racing team uses Castrol, the only leading 10W30 that provides maximum protection against both viscosity and thermal breakdown. Because some people have more important things to worry about than motor oil. Castrol GTX. Drive hard.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning.
The jacket, the course, the players, the masters. Relive a grueling event filled with drama and magic. The 1998 Masters Revisited, Christmas Day on TSN.
Mr. Baudry, my name's Mary Trivers, but they call me La Bolduc. My daughter Denise. I've come because I want to record a song.
But you're not well known, Mrs. Bolduc. You've never recorded before.
Oh, well, got to start somewhere, huh?
I suppose your accompanist is not a professional player.
Oh, she plays well.
I'm afraid we have no masters left, huh, George?
Oh, I always have a dozen in stock, boss.
You know recording costs a lot.
Here's $20.
Hey, that's a working man's pay for a month, Mr. Baudry.
Well, very good. I guess we can start then.
Mes amis, je vous assure que le temps est bien dur. Il faut pas se décourager. Ça va bien vite commencer. De l'ouvrage, il va en avoir pour tout le monde.
Mary Travers had a hit right in the middle of the Depression. She went on to sing for princes and presidents, but to her fans, she would always be La Bolduc.
Let me hear you.
No one could really replace Harry Carey. I thought Bill Murray gave it the best shot there. But oh, how Harry would have loved the 1998 season. A year that really gave new meaning to his patented call. It could be, it might be, it is.
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed Mike Ditka's version as well, but you're right. It was about the long ball. It was the pursuit of a record, but those weren't the only stories when it came to Major League Baseball.
The new season started with two new teams. In Arizona, the Diamondbacks made a big splash with a pool in the stands. And at Tampa Bay, the Devil Rays showed some Florida power, starting 10-6 before settling into expansion reality.
Swing a long one. Calling air traffic control. He is unbelievable.
It didn't take long for the Maris chase to begin as Mark McGwire homered in his first 4 games, tying a Major League mark set by the legendary Willie Mays.
Here comes the hook. Down there, 20 strikeouts. He ties the Major League record.
Mike Piazza's whirlwind tour begins as the Dodgers trade him to Florida. A week later, the Marlins deal him to the Mets.
This whole experience is extremely, I guess, bizarre.
But it was the Mets' crosstown rivals that were putting together the perfect season in New York.
O'Neill near the line. He makes the catch. David Wells. David Wells has pitched a perfect game. Baseball immortality for David Wells.
In June, Sammy Sosa entered the Maris chase, slamming a one-month record 20 home runs.
She's long gone.
Roger Clemens becomes the 11th Major League pitcher to hit the 3,000 mark.
And Clemens would go on to finish the season on a 15-0 run and take his unprecedented 5th Cy Young Award. Baseball fans continue to be enthralled by the exploits of Mark McGwire, both during and before the games.
Come to the early show. This is when Mark McGwire takes batting practice. Whammo. Cameras, people.
You're chasing history. That's why they're here.
And that could be number 400. It is. He's done it.
And a new exclusive club is born, and Barry Bonds is the only member. The only controversy in the '98 season might have come when McGwire and other players admitted to taking a muscle-building supplement called androstenedione. It's sold over the counter in the U.S. and is perfectly legal in Major League Baseball, the NHL, and the NBA. The IOC and the NFL have banned it.
The question as to whether or not these compounds and drugs ought to be out there in a general nutrition store is a serious one. These are hormones.
There's people across America laughing at what the media has done with this thing. It's absolutely nothing. It's a supplement. It supplements my workouts, period. It has nothing to do with baseball.
The controversy died out soon after, and baseball is studying the issue during the offseason. The Yankees continue their run at the history books, reaching the 100-win mark faster than any team in American League history. Baseball continues to ride the crest of this magical season, making its return to national prominence. Meanwhile, its leading men, McGwire and Sosa, continue their battle for the ages.
That one deep in the center, and you can forget about it. McGwire with number 55. Oh, what a shot!
Going back, here's number 55 for Sammy Sosa.
It is a home run, number 61.
First pitch, rocket deep toward left. He did it! 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 He did it!
Less than a week later, Sosa passed Maris as well.
1998. It's been unbelievable. Chicago, I love you.
The streak is over. Cal Ripken Jr., for the first time in over 18 years, has sat and watched 9 innings of baseball in a Baltimore uniform.
Now Larry Walker.
Larry Walker becomes the first Canadian this century to win a batting title, following up his MVP season in '97.
I mean, it's unheard of for somebody to hit 70 home runs. I mean, I'm like in awe of myself right now.
But while Mac won the home run crown, Sosa ran with his 66 dingers to a one-game playoff to decide the NL wildcard berth.
The Cubs have won it, and they will go to the postseason.
The playoffs began with the Yankees rallying for their stricken teammate Darryl Strawberry, who had surgery for colon cancer.
We just wanted to send a message to Darryl that we're all behind him and his family, and we're pulling for him. We know he's strong enough to get through this, and we're behind you.
The Yankees go on to finish 125 and 50, and baseball's most storied franchise wins the World Series in its most storied season.
With a throw, and the Yankees have done it again. Number 24. They are the world champions of baseball in 1998.
What a year it was, and we'll have much more on the Roger Maris home run race a little later on in the show, but you're right. It is unfortunate that Harry Carey wasn't there to call all those Sammy Sosa home runs.
Oh, yeah, and really the saddest part of looking back at the year in sports is remembering all those people who are no longer with us, including, like Harry Carey, some very notable figures in sport.
fly by, fleeting glimpses, moments in our lives. Gotta hold on to them, catch them while you can. These are the moments, these are the moments. CABC holds the moments of our lives.
1 hour figure skating lesson, $55. Black spandex ensemble, $175. Cleaning, filling, and caps, $850. Discovering your artistic side, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Accepted at figure skating schools and other artistic places worldwide.
Since I first laid eyes on you, what I heard about love came true.
If you're ready to scream down the river, blast up the rock face, rip up the mountains, and go where only few dare play, then you're ready for the best action and the wildest athletes on Jeep No Limits here on TSN.
Join us for Jeep No Limits Weekends on TSN.
Sports Desk, 1998 Year in Review. Brought to you by Bell Express View. As much sports as you can handle.
Time to check out the headlines from the month of July. The NHL's top free agent forward is seeing stars as Brett Hull signs up with Dallas. On the same day, Doug Gilmour signs with the Hawks, joining Paul Coffey.
There'd be no choking this time for Jana Novotná. In her 13th Wimbledon and her 4th Grand Slam final, Novotná finally wins the big one, defeating Natalie Toziak. As for the men, Pete Sampras wins his 5th Wimbledon title in 6 years and goes on to finish his record 6th year in a row, ranked #1 in the world.
Surprise, surprise, as Bud Selig finally loses the interim label, becoming the first official commissioner of baseball since 1992.
Former OHL player Jesse Bouleries faces assault charges in Plymouth, Michigan, after this vicious attack on a player in April.
Jimmy Connors is inducted into the Tennis Hall of Fame. He was in the world's top 10 for 16 consecutive years.
A drug scandal hits the Tour de France after 400 vials of steroids are found on a Festina team support member. The team would be kicked out of the Tour.
The free agent goaltending sweepstakes are settled as Curtis Joseph stays north of the border while Mike Richter re-signs with the Rangers.
Oh, he's gone through on the inside, and he's done it. I don't believe it.
And with just 3 laps to go, Alex Zanardi secures the win at the Molson Indy Toronto.
Donovan Bailey is left in the dust by Maurice Green at the Goodwill Games 100 meters, and in the relay, the Americans win as well.
USA back, baby, and we batted than ever.
Some sobering news in July as 17-year-old Chinese gymnast San Lang is paralyzed in a fall during warm-up at the Goodwill Games. And 3 people are killed in the stands at the US 500 after crash debris flew into the crowd.
On the track, 62 lead changes were capped off by this final one by Greg Moore. He wins it on the final lap.
With apologies to Lou Gehrig, I'm the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Don Sutton and Larry Doby, the first to crack the color barrier in the American League, are both inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
The trading deadline brings a flurry of activity for the Canadian clubs as the Blue Jays say goodbye to Phillips, Sprague, Stanley, and Guzman. The Expos wave goodbye to Carlos Perez and Mark Gredzelanek.
As we carry on with the summer months, it was on the 1st of July that we saw an end of an era in Canadian horse racing. The greatest jockey this country has ever produced, Sandy Hawley, decided to call it a career.
In 1998, we saw a slew of high-profile athletes who decided to retire. Let's take a look back now at all of them, beginning with a Canadian who went for one final ride on Canada Day.
It's emotional, and especially when I start seeing the fans and my loved ones, you know, it really gets a lump in your throat.
My time with the Buffalo Bills, in my opinion, has come to its natural conclusion.
My God, it's the people that I'm really going to miss on a day-to-day basis. That's what really made the game fun for me.
Very proud and excited at the same time about my season and my career.
I've exhausted my skating. You know, I'm really truly at the end, and I'm happy with that.
I have a real passion for the game. I love coming to the rink. I love lacing the skates on. I love playing the game. It's not as much a hockey decision as it's a personal decision and a family decision.
Basically, I had to make a decision to say, okay, maybe that's it.
I don't know if I want to go as far as announce retirement, only because, you know, in 2001, I might make a chance at 4 decades.
The only thing that comes to me, I was thinking on the way to the ballpark, is how much I love baseball and how much I'm going to miss it.
Now, we all know that not everyone in that group is going to remain retired. As a matter of fact, Paul Molitor couldn't even say the words retirement himself. Eventually, a few of them will come back.
Yeah, at least he's honest about it. In 1998, as Lisa Bose tells us, it almost became commonplace for athletes to unretire.
Dave Steve got the itch as a guest coach in spring training and came back to the Blue Jays after a 5-year retirement.
Put it away, and Dave Steve, at 41 years of age, works a scoreless 9th inning in his comeback appearance.
Steve DeBerg also came back after a 5-year absence from the NFL, but as a 44-year-old quarterback, you might say DeBerg stumbled out of the gate a bit. David Archer had been gone only a year, but his return to the CFL had its troubles as well. On the ice, Steve Smith decided to return after a 1-year retirement.
Last year, it hit me hard watching players that were my age and older carrying the Stanley Cup above their head.
It was a hip check that eventually caused Cam Neely's first retirement, and after checking his hip for a few practices, he called it quits again. And then there's Reggie White, who retired and unretired in the space of 2 days.
While I was laying down, the Lord spoke to me and said, "You made a promise." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You made a promise. You promised them that you would play 2 years, and I want you to fulfill that commitment."
Let's keep in mind he could change his mind.
Time now to check out the headlines from August. Bruni Surin edges Donovan Bailey at the Canadian Nationals in an incredible time of 9.89. Bailey comes in at 9.92.
Brandy Burton wins her second Demorier Classic title, holding off Annika Sorenstam to win the LPGA Major.
3-time Olympic gold medalist Michelle Smith is banned for 4 years for tampering with a urine sample. It was spiked with a lethal concentration of alcohol.
In the sweltering heat at the Demorier Open, Patrick Rafter defeats Richard Krajcek 7-6, 6-4. Rafter did not lose a set at the event.
Daniel Nestor and his partner Mark Knowles win the ATP Doubles Championship when their opponent retires with a neck injury.
Monica Seles wins her 4th straight Demorier Open title, beating Arantxa Sanchez Vicario in straight sets.
Hockey legend Bobby Hull vehemently denies racist comments attributed to him in a Moscow newspaper.
The statements attributed to me are clearly defamatory, and I will use all legal means against those responsible for these outrageous lies.
At the Little League World Series, Jeff Duda puts on a brilliant strikeout performance for Canada, but the boys from Langley, BC lose a heartbreaker in the international final. Japan wins it 3-2 in extra innings.
A disturbing scene at the GBL as recovering alcoholic John Daly suffers a breakdown during first-round play. His determination allowed him to finish the round and return for second-round play. Meantime, Brandel Chambly wins the Open for his first career PGA title.
Still ahead on the year in review, the CFL celebrates a record-breaking season on the field.
And a former CFLer takes his magic act back to the States.
the guy is really something. He is truly magical.
Say you want to download something from the internet. You can do it at 28.8. You can do it at 56K. Or you can get fast internet technology from Nortel Networks and do it more than 30 times faster. Visit our website and be faster to the net. With the NHL and Nortel Networks, how the world shares ideas.
Canada was just a few days old when 4 young men from St. John, New Brunswick, dared to challenge the French and British world champions at their own sport. In their absurd pink caps and brown suspenders, few gave them a chance against Oxford or the legendary Parisians. Their hometown had bet $100,000 and would not be disappointed. Ross, Hutton, Fulton, and Price, unbeaten for the rest of their rowing career, they'd be known worldwide as the Paris Crew.
Welcome back. Our next On the Net award is for the Team of the Year. The nominees: the CFL's Team of the 90s, the Stampeders, won their second Grey Cup of the decade. The Chicago Bulls won their 6th title of the 90s, completing their second three-peat. The Denver Broncos won their first ever Super Bowl back in January. As the year came to a close, they challenged the 1972 Miami Dolphins' unbeaten season mark. The Detroit Red Wings overcame the adversity of the Konstantinov tragedy to win their second straight Stanley Cup. Host country France overcame tremendous odds, defeating Brazil in the final of the World Cup 3-0. The New York Yankees recorded one of the great baseball seasons in history, 125 wins and their 24th World Series title. And the winner, as determined by your votes, the Yankees. After starting the season at 1-4, they went on a tear, finishing with 114 regular season wins, a new American League record. Their overall mark of 125-50, a .714 winning percentage, ranks as one of the best of all time. And they did it as a team. No superstars rising above the rest. The only postseason individual honors handed to the team was the Manager of the Year award for Joe Torre. They capped off their year with a sweep of the San Diego Padres in the World Series.
And thanks to 4 of you voters, here's some other teams that got some consideration. Manitoba Moose picking up a couple of votes, Gloucester Dukes Football Club of the OMFL, and the University of Guelph Rugby Club.
Let's move on now to some of the headlines from September. Adam Rita resigns his head coaching duties with the BC Lions. Greg Mon stepping in from the front office.
The Expos signed Vladimir Guerrero to a 5-year, $28 million contract extension. Guerrero hit .324 with 38 home runs.
Cheryl Swoops leads the way for the Houston Comets as they win their second straight WNBA title.
Canada's women's national soccer team qualifies for the '99 World Cup after breezing through the qualifying tourney by a combined score of 42-0.
What an honor to be back and officially say football's back in Cleveland.
And all it cost was $530 million. Bernie Kosar made the announcement for Al Lerner's group, who were awarded the franchise out of 4 finalists.
Lindsay Davenport defeats Martina Hingis in the U.S. Open women's final. It's her first Grand Slam title. On the men's side, Patrick Rafter takes his second straight trophy at the Open, taking out Mark Philippoussis in 4 sets.
It was a friendly rivalry as Bob Friend and Billy Andrade went down to the wire at the Bell Canadian Open. Andrade sinks the winning putt to take the title.
In a rough 6-game series, the Brampton Excelsiors knock off Coquitlam to take the Canadian Senior Lacrosse Championship, the Mann Cup.
After demanding a trade and remaining a no-show at training camp, Canucks new GM Brian Burke officially suspends Pavel Bure.
Inmates don't run the asylum. I mean, if a player wants to be traded, that's fine. But he's got a contract to play here.
Ben Johnson emerges from his latest battle after an Ontario court struck down his appeal of a lifetime ban for twice testing positive for banned substances. In 1998, the Hamilton Tiger Cats became a fitting symbol for the entire CFL itself. This was a club that was on the verge of extinction, but yet they bounced back in a big way and were extremely respected.
Absolutely, and while the Tiger Cats were making one of the most remarkable comebacks the CFL has ever seen, the league itself was bouncing back quite nicely at the gate and witnessing some of the finest individual performances ever.
Donald Narcisse, Alan Pitts, Daryl Mitchell. Each of these men set new standards in the CFL this season, but no man was more dominant than Mike Pringle. He broke his own single-season rushing record, finishing with over 2,000 yards. Pringle also set new league standards for most consecutive 100-yard games with 13 and most 100-yard games in a season with 14. Everyone tried unsuccessfully to stop Pringle, but that only fueled his fire as Pringle rushed to the CFL's Most Outstanding Player Award.
I also like to thank Doug Flutie for going to the NFL and freeing up this award.
The comeback story of this season didn't belong to an individual, but to a team, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. In 1997, Hamilton only won 2 games. In 98, led by Danny McManus, the Ticats roared back to finish atop the standings with a 12-5-1 mark. The Ticats continued their run into the Eastern Final. A Montreal touchdown in the final minute seemed to end the year for the Cats, but a last-second field goal gave the Tiger Cats a berth in the Grey Cup and handed Dave Ritchie a crushing defeat. While in the West, Jeff Garcia and the Stamps picked apart the Eskimos to make it to Winnipeg, and the big game didn't disappoint. Like the Eastern Final, the last play of the fourth quarter would decide it all. But unlike the Eastern Final, Hamilton was trying to hold on. The Ticats' dream of hoisting the Grey Cup in victory was shattered.
The final play of the 98 Grey Cup. It's good! And the Calgary Stampeders are Grey Cup champions!
Really was a remarkable year for the Canadian Football League. Some are saying it was a renaissance season for them, and it's somewhat surprising when you consider the fact that they lost their biggest star. When Doug Flutie elected to leave the Toronto Argonauts and go back to the National Football League, the skeptics cried out.
And like so many times before, this diminutive quarterback was out to prove all the skeptics wrong. And as Lisa Bowes tells us, it wasn't too many weeks after that Flutie Mania was alive and well in the NFL.
In the beginning, this was a personal crusade.
It's been 8 years coming. My decision is not about money. It's about playing football and having fun.
But in the beginning, Flutie's support was limited.
We got Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs all messed up because they got to replace Flutie.
What are they bringing that midget here for?
Today's the day. Doug Flutie in Buffalo. Holy mackerel.
But then the $25 million man went down, the backup went in, and went back to the future.
Flutie scrambling to buy time. Touchdown, Buffalo.
Flutie keeping left side touchdown.
By playing the game the only way he knows how, Flutie won over his detractors.
He has such total command and understanding of the game of football.
And captured the imagination of a city that has had its collective heart broken more times than it would care to count.
That's why they have fallen in love with him in Buffalo.
Flutie's face graced not just cereal boxes, but practically every newspaper publication on both sides of the border. At the beginning of the year, he talked of opportunity, of proving himself. By the end of 1998, Doug Flutie might have finally found what he was looking for: respect.
The guy is really something. He is truly magical.
And what a magical year for Doug Flutie, regardless of how it plays out. This is a quarterback that's going to the Pro Bowl. Who would have thought at the beginning of the season, Flutie be going to Honolulu and Brett Favre would not? We have to take a short break, but still to come, our year in review we will hit the track and bring you up to date on the year that was in auto racing.
And all that trash talking in the NBA goes from the courts to the boardroom. Stay tuned.
Have you ever noticed how special life can get when it's focused on you? That's why we've created M-Banks, a bank built around you. It's about you getting a loan or mortgage and the other things you get from an ordinary bank from the comfort of your home or office. M-Banks. It's about time banking was about you.
No one's tougher on motor oil than Formula One drivers. The extreme stress and searing heat generated by their hard driving can break down an oil in no time. That's why the Winfield-Williams F1 racing team uses Castrol, the only leading 10W30 that provides maximum protection against both viscosity and thermal breakdown. Because some people have more important things to worry about than motor oil. Castrol GTX. Drive hard.
So you'll be fighting in France tomorrow, huh? Well, good luck, Captain Culver. No, and you can be sure we'll take very good care of the bear. You are noting that he's the official mascot of the 2nd Canadian Infantry Brigade?
Yes, sir.
So long, Winnie. You be a good girl while I'm gone.
Why Winnie, sir?
From my hometown, Winnipeg.
Oh, Daddy, I just love Winnie. Couldn't we take him home with us?
Christopher Robin, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll write some stories about Winnie, and Mr. Shepherd here will draw some pictures.
Oh, Daddy, let's call him Winnie the Pooh.
Why Pooh, son?
I don't know, just Winnie the Pooh.
And that's how a young Canadian soldier's bear inspired 4 volumes of stories and verse that still sell millions of copies around the world.
Welcome back to the Year in Review. While 1997 was a year of revelation, 1998 was a year of recovery for Sheldon Kennedy. In May, he embarked on a coast-to-coast skate to raise awareness of sexual abuse. One of the more emotional stops, Swift Current, the site where the majority of the crimes took place. A setback in Edmonton.
I'm still not hiding who I am to this day.
Only reinforced that his recovery was still ongoing. But by October, tears of joy as Kennedy's cross-Canada journey was complete. And the road back to pro hockey was just beginning in his home province of Manitoba.
Back to our check of the headlines, now from October. 12-time NBA All-Star Larry Bird is inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Bird was a 3-time league MVP.
Struggling along with a 2-12 record, the Blue Bombers fire head coach and director of football operations, Jeff Reinbold.
A standing ovation. This is great to see. Hockey has come to Tennessee.
And with that, the Nashville Predators kick off their first NHL season.
Manager Felipe Alou decides to hang around Montreal for a while despite an offer from the Dodgers. The Expos give Alou a reported $6 million over 3 years.
This franchise is an absolute disaster.
Those were new owner Art Williams' thoughts when he bought the Lightning in May. Now, just 2 games into the season, Williams fires both Phil and Tony Esposito from their front office posts.
After finishing 12th at this summer's World Championship, Canada's men's national basketball team coach Steve Konchalski is fired.
I'm prepared to give you one last chance in Nevada, if that is the will of this commission.
Ears to Mike Tyson as he is reinstated by the Nevada State Athletic Commission.
Convicted 20 months earlier of sexual assault on 2 of his players, Graham James is out on day parole after serving less than half his jail term. Sheldon Kennedy was at the hearing.
Hockey greats Rocket Richard and Jean Beliveau are named Companions of the Order of Canada, while boxer George Chuvalo gets a Member of the Order of Canada.
After a number of suspensions for inappropriate conduct, Marge Schott agrees to sell controlling interest in the Cincinnati Reds.
Murphy falls, McGillney looks in front, Messier scores! Goal number 600!
100 years after hosting the first Toronto Argonauts game, Varsity Stadium is closed down after staging its finale, U of T against York.
The 49ers' Jerry Rice sets another NFL record, catching a pass in his 184th consecutive game.
Broncos kicker Jason Elam boots a 63-yard field goal to tie the all-time NFL record, set by Tom Dempsey 28 years ago. Last year, when it came to auto racing, we as Canadians were consumed with the exploits of Jacques Villeneuve, who went on to win the F1 driver's title.
Yeah, unfortunately, he did not have as good a season this time around. Let's take a look back at the year that was on the track.
Jacques Villeneuve started '98 as the reigning world champion. By the end of the year, Villeneuve was a non-factor in the Drivers' Championship and was bolting Williams to join a brand new team, British American Racing, founded by former agent Craig Pollock. McLaren's Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard threatened to run away and hide, to the point where the teammates co-conspired to predetermine that Hakkinen would win in Australia. After a chastising by F1 officials, McLaren continued to lead the pack. But then, predictably, Michael Schumacher pulled Ferrari back into contention. 3 straight wins at Montreal, France, and Britain made it a 2-horse race between Hakkinen and Schumacher. The title came down to the final race at Suzuka, with Schumacher taking the pole, but then disaster.
That is Michael Schumacher. Will he end up on the back of the grid? Look, he's shaking his head, look.
Schumacher, forced to start from the back of the pack, made a furious attempt to cut through the field, but his day ended with a blown tire, handing the flying Finn Mika Hakkinen the F1 title for the first time. The kart season can be summed up in 2 words: Alex Zanardi. Zanardi literally ran rings around the opposition, winning 7 races, including Toronto, with a series record 285 points and 15 podium finishes. So dominant was Zanardi, he clinched the driver's title by Labor Day in Vancouver, and shortly after announced he was returning to F1, taking Villeneuve's place at Williams. Greg Moore started strong, challenging Zanardi for the early points lead, but Moore faded after his brilliant last-lap win in the US 500. Which leads us to the soap opera of Paul Tracy. A year of crashes, driving infractions, probation, suspensions, plus a shoving match with team owner Barry Green after nearly taking out his teammate Dario Franchitti in Houston. Then in the last race in California, leading with 4 laps to go, Tracy spins out on a restart. While '98 was a nightmare for Tracy, it was another dream season for Jeff Gordon in NASCAR. A 3rd Winston Cup title in 4 years, including 13 wins, tying the modern NASCAR record set by Richard Petty in 1975.
The month of November has always meant the beginning of an NBA season. At least it always has in the past, but not this year.
No, like the NHL, like Major League Baseball, like the National Football League before it, finally some labor strife in the NBA, and because of it, for the first time in league history, they had to cancel games, the 2 sides just unable to reach a new collective agreement.
In March, with player salaries far exceeding the agreed-upon percentage of league revenues, NBA owners voted to reopen the collective bargaining agreement. And on July the 1st, the NBA locked the players out until a new deal could be reached. The players, including Jordan, looked united.
I think it's unfair that, we as employees must go to our employer and say, hey, you're paying us too much. Let's start this thing back over again.
And I tell Commissioner Stern now, if he's watching this, if they're betting on a hard cap, we will not have a season.
But the NBA looked strong in their resolve to get salaries back under control.
They've decided that any deal that has a limitation that would affect perhaps 30 or 40 players, even though it would benefit the great masses of our 400 players, is a deal that doesn't deserve to get done by the union.
On November the 3rd, opening night of the NBA season came and went, but all arenas were dark. Over the next several weeks, the 2 sides met only sporadically, usually with minimal or no results. On December the 12th, the meeting lasted just 30 minutes, with both sides continuing to be far apart in the season on the brink of total cancellation. The union announced an exhibition game for December the 19th, with some proceeds going to so-called needy players. That plan drew massive criticism, and the players quickly came to their senses, directing all proceeds to charity. As Christmas approached, the NBA had canceled its All-Star game, and no official meetings were scheduled. When the NBA owners first locked out the players, we thought by now that they'd have a new agreement. They'd be playing basketball, but such is not the case, and time really is of the essence.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people are surprised it's gone this far, and it is really endangering the season as it goes on, because they still need time to build rosters. They want to start in February. They need this done very soon.
Let's check out some of the other headlines from November. Jeff Kugel is banned for life by the OHL after his outrageous actions in this game. He appeals and will now be considered for reinstatement next season.
Sandy Hawley, Miriam Bedard, Silken Lauman, and Mario Lemieux are the newest members of the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame.
Continues to play. Silvershine short lead. Here comes Alfred again, who's flying in between horses. A wild race to the Classic. Awesome Again has won.
Awesome Again is the first Canadian horse to win the Classic. He won all 6 of his starts in '98 and becomes the richest Canadian bred in history.
Brett Hall caps a three-point night with this pass and becomes the newest member of the 1,000-point club.
At the Hockey Hall of Fame inductions, 2 former Quebec Nordiques are inducted into the shrine, Michel Goulet and Peter Stastny.
In a first for North America, Edmonton is named the host city for the 2001 World Track and Field Championships.
I think it's amazing. The rest of the older guys on the relay team, we had planned on 2000 to be together for the last time, but 2001 sounds at home. It's beautiful. I mean, definitely, that's a good thing.
Just 1 month after losing his tour card, Mike Weir storms through the final round to win the PGA qualifying school and once again qualify for 99.
My goal is to get out there and try to play to win, because, you know, the higher you finish in this tournament, the better chance you have to get in tournaments early in the year. So it's a great sense of satisfaction, especially the way I started.
Peter Nedved's year-and-a-half holdout comes to a head as Pittsburgh deals them to the Rangers.
Eric Lapointe becomes only the 3rd 2-time winner of the Heck Crichton.
I'm going to take this award and share with the rest of my teammates. They really want to help me to be here today.
Jim Daly is relieved of his duties by the Saskatchewan Roughriders, replaced by Cal Murphy.
I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy the game very much.
A series of drop passes marred the early part of the Vanier Cup, but the Saskatchewan Huskies would eventually prevail over Concordia to take the CIAU championship game.
On to some of the headlines from December. Vancouver and Whistler are chosen by the COA to bid for the 2010 Winter Olympics. The group was selected over Calgary and Quebec City.
After a tumultuous season, Kay Stevenson resigns as coach of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Canadian Jonathan Power is the first North American to ever win the World Open Squash Championship. He beat out the #1 seed, Peter Nicol.
In an off-season of spiraling salaries, Kevin Brown becomes baseball's first $100 million man, signing a 7-year contract with the Dodgers. The winter meeting's other big story, the impending trade of Roger Clemens, never materialized. When we come back on the year in review, we will hand out another On the Net award, this time for the story of the year.
The Hammer, Canadian-made high-performance curling brushes.
We hammered the competition all the way to the Olympics, and the new Hammer XL is even better.
Featuring a lightweight fiberglass handle and double pivoting brush head that rotates to any degree while you sweep.
We're ready for victory with the Hammer XL.
The Hammer XL, the perfect angle in curling.
Steve Podgorski, Esquire.
José Lavigueur, Esquire.
Meet the Esquire collection.
Mola Caracas, Esquire.
David Tang, Esquire.
A line of fashionable Swiss watches designed for Canadians who do what they love and love what they do.
Teresa Hoffmeyer, Esquire.
Rudy Hoffman, Esquire.
Kinky Carpenter, Esquire.
The Esquire Rally Chronograph, water resistant to 100 meters. Esquire watch. It has your name on it.
Rick Hannaford, Esquire.
More than 8.5 hours a day of sports news. Live updates throughout the day with breaking stories and bureaus across the country. With the drive and experience to succeed.
2, 1, take 1.
We are journalists. We are fans. We are Sports Desk. Mornings, early edition, and night.
You won't believe some of these proposals. Look at this one. And this. Whew. Now this is what I wanted from the start. But Mike Pearson wants this. Well, he is the Prime Minister. But blue is not an official Canadian color. Meanwhile, John Diefenbaker and the Tories want this. You know, the only way I'll ever get the whole committee together is to persuade my liberals to reject their own prime minister's choice. Well, the Tories will agree to that at least. Is there one design here that the whole committee can agree on that says Canada? No mistake about it. I wonder. Prime Minister and Mr. Diefenbaker, I was just talking about you. Are we all going to the same party?
Amazingly, John Matheson MP would achieve the unanimity he sought.
It is a special pleasure for me to introduce our two home run kings for working families in America, Mike McGuire and Sammy Sosa.
Hey, they're not Red Sox. They're not Red Sox.
You know, that every time I see it, it just absolutely kills me. I have no idea what Ted Kennedy was doing there. And every year there are stories that are not just bizarre, they are ridiculous.
It is tough to top that one, but here are some of the more offbeat stories of 1998. Here we go. A truckload of firewood proved the deal clincher when Romanian soccer goalkeeper Valentin Bargan left Recolta Laza to sign for Stemnik Buda. Bargan was lured away from Laza when their Romanian Division 4 rivals doubled their transfer fee and, hey, threw in the laws. Bargan, not surprisingly, lives in a wood-heated house.
You'll like this one. A survey in England found that more than 95% of male respondents aged 20 to 34 said they would prefer to watch soccer's World Cup on TV than spend a night of passion with their fantasy woman. The over 35s, however, were more likely to be distracted, with up to 40% of them admitting they could be lured away by a dream woman.
My goodness. Dennis Rodman, that's all I need to say. He filed the Nolan Papers seeking to end his 9-day-old marriage to actress Carmen Electra. The papers cite fraud and, get this, unsound mind? We're not sure who wore the dress at the wedding, but maybe these pictures from a couple of years ago might give us a clue. Rodman's lawyer, Gerald Phillips, says Rodman was so inebriated at the nuptials that he didn't know which end was up or what he was doing. The honeymoon was apparently a short one. Rodman claims the two separated the day of the wedding. Yes, where would we be without the likes of Dennis Rodman, who once again gave us so much to talk about throughout 1998? Where would we be without some of the great sports stories as well? Once again, this year had a lot of them.
Yeah, let's take a look at the 1998 nominees for Story of the Year.
It was the Great Chase, and what Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa caught was the imagination of baseball fans and non-fans alike all across North America. The Chicago Bulls dynasty continued and perhaps ended with their 6th championship. The Detroit Red Wings overcame the odds to win back-to-back cups. The Nagano Olympics bring Canada its largest medal haul at the Winter Games. France makes use of home field advantage to win World Cup '98.
Every one of those stories captured our imagination, but nothing quite like the home run race between Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa. That was everybody's favorite story.
Yeah, together those two rewrote the home run record, eclipsing the mark of Roger Maris, and in the process, forging a very good friendship.
The Chicago Cubs outfielder Sammy Sosa.
I think it's ridiculous to even think about it now. I mean, the only time that it should ever come into the media's mind or the public's mind if somebody has 50 home runs going into September.
Fly ball left. Collinsworth going back on the ball. Looking up. It's a grand slam. Home run.
Up into the night. Into the upper tank. Are you kidding me? Oh, my.
527 feet. Number 18. Uh-oh. Third home run of the night. He's fun to watch. The modern-day Babe Ruth.
This is way early in the season. There's nothing to talk about.
Here comes Sammy. Swung on, belted, left center field. Back to the track, to the wall. He's homered now in 4 straight games. You got to be kidding me. Into the stratosphere. Sosa's 3rd of the night. Sosa did it again.
around saying he's playing Nerf ball. I mean, when do you ever do something like that? I mean, that's unheard of.
I still believe that my wife is the man. I'm always going to say that, no matter what happened.
I know I'm chasing history, but it does make it easier on me when I do have my son with me.
He wasn't real sure there for a while. He was the only one, though.
And Sosa and Big Mac are tied again at 47.
I have a lot of respect for Mark. He's a great guy. And I want him to break the record. He is the man.
He's got it, number 48.
The Major League lead in home runs.
No doubt about that, baby. We are tied. McGwire has number 49.
And just like that, Big Mac has reclaimed the lead.
The only time that it should ever come into the media's mind or the public's mind if somebody has 50 home runs going into September.
McGwire has 50 here on August the 20th, and he's the first player in the history of Major League Baseball to have 3 consecutive seasons of at least 50 home runs. Number 51.
Mark another one off. Maris minus 10 to tie and 11 to break.
I'd say there's a pretty good chance.
McGwire with number 55. Oh, what a shot!
Number 56, and ties Hack Wilson's National League season record. 57, a new National League home run record.
Home run number 58.
Make it 59.
Wake up, Babe Ruth. There's company coming. It's Mark McGwire with number 60.
The family of Roger Maris also came to town. 4 children. Pat Maris, the widow of Roger Maris, had to be hospitalized upon arrival.
That ball is gone to its field. It is a home run. Number 61. He has tied Maris.
Is Matt McGwire looks on, wondering if this is the at-bat. Tuesday, September 8th, that Mark McGwire moves one place in front of Roger Maris. Down the left field line, is it enough? Gone! There it is! 62! Touch first, Mark. You are the new single-season home run king. Folks, it couldn't happen to a better man, and you will always know where you were at 8:18 p.m. Central Time, September 8th, 1998.
Baseball been very, very good to me.
The 0-1. Swung and belted. There it goes. Number 61. Move over Maris. Swung on. There she goes. Number 62. Move over Big Mac. You got company.
I'm so happy that I'm there with Mark McGwire. Believe me, he is the man.
Wouldn't it be great if we just ended up tied? I think it would be beautiful. 70 is a good round number. Yeah.
This is his last at bat of 1998. Take a good long look. This is going to have to last you until next March in Florida. First and third, 2 out.
This is a season that I will never, ever forget, and I hope everybody in baseball never forget. So thank you very much.
Now, 2 gentlemen that are very deserving of all the accolades that they have received so far, and they keep coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just because McGuire hit more home runs and reached the magical 62 before Sammy Sosa, very difficult to decide who was best over the course of the season. You look at the awards handed out and you see the Sporting News, based in St. Louis, gave Player of the Year to Sosa, although Baseball America gave the award to Mark McGuire. And Sports Illustrated, undecided. They decided to make it co-Sportsman of the Year, both of them honored.
When we come back on the Year in Review, we'll wrap things up with the long-awaited, much-anticipated, and never duplicated Plays of the Year.
Wow, that was sensational. Good morning. It's 6:28 in our...
Well, it's rain, and more.
I can't believe you're leaving me.
There's a left jab.
The most sports. The most hockey.
They call him Fuko.
Endless movies. Over 100 channels of as much TV as you can handle. Bell Express View. Hardware available for as little as $12.49 a month. Weight loss not included.
Refus global. Come on, that was in 48. Fear of prejudice. Fear of public opinion, of total condemnation, fear of finding yourself alone without God. It's enough to make you sick to your stomach when you see all of the rewards given to appalling cruelty, the threats, the mindless excesses, to the manufacture of mountains of useless goods. Life goes on. The important thing is to be able to create, isn't it? Refus global. That piece of paper cost me a lot. Forced to finish his days in exile, the poor artist. There. Étoile Noire.
A manifesto decrying the stifling conditions of Quebec society in the 40s was written by a group of artists led by Paul-Émile Bordua.
Sports Desk, 1998 Year in Review. Brought to you by Bell Express View. As much sports as you can handle.
They're out the post.
Race to the century in the round. Johnson out for a good turn. Duffy coming up in the center.
I didn't really get a good start because the Arse was indicated to go. He was very nervous with the gun running, people running, so he wants to go. So they said, Ben, you have to get under the box. By the time I get down, they shoot the gun.
Unfortunately, Ben didn't quite make it as our Play of the Year, but this is my favorite time of the show.
Absolutely. This is the time, these are the moments where you might just jump out of your seat or stop in your tracks or simply shake your head because these are the 1998 Plays of the Year.
It's much more exciting in person even than on television.
I can't believe that!
Now, where's the ball?
It's in his pocket.
It's in his pocket of the umpire.
The throw through. Safe.
Yep, we got it. We have liftoff.
Oh, no. I'm having the time of my life. I love this. He steps up. He goes. He dives. He's in. He goes. He dives. He's in. I'm having the time of my life. I love this.
Let's get ready to rumble.
An uppercut! Yeah! You better believe it, baby!
What we have here is a failure to communicate.
Third period. For the first goal. Fresh legs over the board. Tommy Fitzgerald takes a ride. Michael Smith. Whoa! Big save!
What a save by Hudson!
Get away from Woolley. Sets up Schneider. Knocked down with a helmet.
No!
And shoots. Scores!
Sneaking between defenders. Mirnoff score! Here's Todd versus Tuesday trying to grease in. What a goal! Ralston moving in. Lifted one. He scores! What a goal! Goal!
the line and going foul, and disappearing is Al Martin.
Throws it. Saunders, what a catch. Behind the back with one hand.
09, and he over the wall into the bullpen and makes the catch.
And looking. Oh, what a catch. Whitby going back to the track. He leaps. Oh, he got it. What a catch by Junior.
That might make the honor roll tonight.
Bryant puts it up.
Ground ball up the middle, flips it. What a play, a highlight play.
Fires, have you moved on at all? Did it get over the line? No,
And the rebound by Indiana behind the second. What a pass to Dale Davis.
Jordan. Just gonna fall. Oh my goodness.
Time now for the top 5 plays of the year.
You're kidding me. Way to go, kid. Driven to right and deep. Let's overturn a Ward's head. And he makes a circus catch and disappears. That will be on a highlight film for a long time to come.
Lindros left it in the middle. Leclerc for his second. Clap. Oh, he won it. Do you believe it?
Watch the save Magic makes. Well, I won't be needing my stick anymore. I'll just get over here with the blocker. He wouldn't be able to get there if he tried to get there with the stick.
There, no puck. Get the feet. Guaranteed penalty shot.
And what a year it has been. You know, for myself personally, it started with supreme disappointment. I couldn't believe the way the Olympics turned out for Team Canada. Then you see the likes of Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa, and then the National Football League as well with John Elway. You know, it turns out to be a very, very good year indeed.
There was some great moments at the Olympics for Canada, Katrina LeMay-Doan especially, but also football. John Elway finally winning a Super Bowl and the exciting finish of the Grey Cup in Winnipeg. It's been an outstanding year. From all of us here, Happy New Year. Enjoy the holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
TSN Pacific Prime.